Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Pillars of Eternity with me, Bring It On. Let's speak to Harmka.
Sure.
It's him, Harmka. I remember that weak chin and those knobbly knees. She stops, staring motionless at the figures among the trees. Patience, Amika.
How goes?
Is that supposed to cut out like that? The Oven Man emerges into the clearing and freezes, staring at the Devil of Caroc. For an elf, he's tall and rangy, with a weather-beaten face beneath stringy, greasy hair. The others with him turn, glaring and gaping at the bronze golem.
Oroc's shadow. What's that wicked thing doing here?
Harmka swallows, a lump bobbing in his neck. Why are you so nervous?
It's a killer! Look, we don't want no trouble. Just trying to do our work.
Beads of sweat have formed on his forehead, despite the chilly air.
We'd be much obliged if you'd leave us be. And take that thing with you.
He looks at the devil with a mixture of terror and loathing. Enough. What do you see, Donald? Is that the man who torched us? The devil sways on her feet, her whole body moving around the axes of her ankles. Though she's talking to you, her attention, a concentrated spear of essence, is focused on Harmka. Who are you?
Just a woodcutter. Ask anyone in Stalwart. They'll tell you.
I find it odd that the devil was not voice acted here, but he is. What are you dallying for? See what's written on the bastard's soul? Her essence boils and froths. Harmka, do you remember the village of Cold Morn?
Everyone does. Let the raid Sarans into the Deerwood. What's that got to do with anything?
His expression falls. I want answers, Donald. If you don't stop his mewling, so help me, I'll rip them out of his head myself. Read Harmka's soul. He steps away from you, but your awareness reaches through his trembling skin and the feeble resistance of his fear. You see memories. Snow-shrouded forest partitioned by fallen pines and firs. Days measured by the steady swing of your axe. There are other moments too, recollections that flare up like a heart's welcoming fire. There are children, spry and lanky like you, but still full of the rowdy energy of youth. Together, you scatter winterbloom petals on a grave. You reach deeper into Harmka's soul. Years roll back. A torch in your left hand bathes your face and shoulder in heat. All around you are other men and women holding other torches, and the mountain air is acrid with the stench of smoke and sweat. Rage billows off of the others. It's been a fever in your blood for days now, exhausting you and invigorating you in equal measure. You're at the edge of that town, Cold Morn. It's hours yet before dawn, but the commotion has started to awaken the village. Candlelight ignites behind frost-crusted windows, and haunted faces peer out at you through the glass. You begin to doubt yourself. Just then, a door slams. A villager comes racing through the streets, kicking up snow. With his dark white face and pale hair, he looks almost like a ghost. The line of torchbearers ripples as he gets closer. He picks up speed, but nobody moves toward him. You imagine him breaking through the row, shattering your ranks like the bad dream that brought you all here. You imagine waking up in your bed, the heat from your torch nothing more than the warmth of your wife sleeping next to you. Instead, the villager reaches the row of torchbearers a stone's throw away from you. A woman advances from the line and buries her dagger in his neck. The rest of your fellows shout. Rage, memory, and bloodthirsty triumph boil up in you. You all came with a purpose. You came to bring justice to the traitors of Cold Morn. The next few hours are painted in colors more vivid than life. You put your torch to anything that stands, and your sword to anyone who runs. It is as if Magrin herself whispers in your ear and guides your hand. Exhaustion has almost cooled your rage when you spy a house at the edge of town, one of the only buildings that hasn't already burned. It's flanked by knotty spruce trees. The door is painted yellow. Yellow, the bloom of sunrise, the hue of your son's hair, the color of cowardice. Just then, someone barrels into you from behind. It's a man, someone you remember from the journey to Cold Morn. You can't recall his name. He snarls at you, mad with indiscriminate rage. It occurs to you that he's mistaken you for one of the villagers. You smash the window and hurl your torch inside. The other man is turned away. You think you hear a child shriek within the house, but it's impossible to tell above the roar of the riot. Harmka shivers as you pull away from his memory. His eyes are wide with guilt and fear. Spit it out, Donald. What did you see? Her feet are rooted in the snow, but her limbs jerk and jangle. He did burn down our house. Yeah, he burned down your house. She stares at Harmka. You hear only a whirring mechanism in her throat, but Harmka leans closer.
What did you say?
His mouth quivers. What did it feel like? The torch in your hand, the blade you carried. What did they feel like? A wild, inhuman scream echoes out of the bizarre machinery of her throat. It drops Harmka and his companions to their knees, where they cry out in terror. Gears squeal and crank as she rushes at him.
Sure.
Liminal spaces, 50% experience, ethereal helm, grand item, 1 to 2 major items, and a good chunk of money. The Valiant Animancer Aketa, or Acheta, known for extensive work into the properties of living Aedra, caused a huge stir in Biagepi when she claimed to her colleagues that she believed all living Aedra is interconnected within the heart of Eora itself. The claim alone was not that scandalous, but Acheta boasted that she had created a device that allowed her to physically travel along the pathways of living Aedra down toward their source. The things she claimed to see caused an uproar among some of the more religious Animancers, many of whom found the statements blasphemous. A few days later, Acheta was nowhere to be found, and her home had been thoroughly sacked. Some fear that she was killed for her boasts. Others fear that her statements were pure fact, that Acheta escaped the wrath of her colleagues by using her invention to permanently step into the between. Alright, I think Kana's a good candidate for that quest.
Mm-hmm.
Right here. Almost 15 years I've been looking for him.
She stares ahead as you approach, ink black marbles of her eyes fixed on some distant point. Crescent swells and swirls in the throes of contemplation.
All that fretting and wondering. And the deed's over in less time than it takes to tell.
How do you feel now? She says nothing at first. You hear only the dull clicking of something in her chest.
I killed a lot of folk in my time. Felt their blood slick in my hands, smelled their flesh as it burned.
She holds her hands in front of herself as they twitch in spasm.
And I always used to imagine what it would be like to have Harmka under my knife, feeling his breath come hot and fast, smelling the fear ooze out of him.
Say nothing.
Couldn't feel a thing. His fading pulse weren't no more than a powder of rain to me.
She shrugs, letting her arms clatter to her sides. What do you mean?
This body, it weren't made for feeling. Gouging my fingers into Harmka's wasting flesh, his screams just buzzing in my skull.
She flexes and unflexes her fingers in a few lightning-quick motions.
All it did was remind me.
Of what?
That this is a madman's fever dream. Like a prison, but no, 'cause in a prison, you lay your head down and you feel the straw soft beneath you. Your flesh prickling in the cold, black bread crumbling on your tongue.
She turns her arms in front of her, examining the scrollwork on the backs of her hands with horror and wonder. Your body has unique strengths and advantages too.
I'd trade 'em all if I could feel the snow cold around my ankles.
She shakes her head.
I still dream I'm folk. I wake up some mornings wondering why I can't feel the floor beneath me, thinking I must have fallen and gone crippled. But then I lift my head, see a bronze corpse stretching out in front of me.
She lowers her head. A tremor runs through her. She still sleeps. That's interesting. Is it to conserve power, or do souls need rest in this world? At least you're alive. That's something.
I dreamed too of what Galvino did that night. Those moments. I'd endure another cold morn if it'd spare me this fate.
She rubs her hands together, tracing her even joints with her fingertips. But what happened exactly?
It was after I got caught in Stalwart. They'd locked me in a little house by the inn, the old mayor and his cronies.
Her head dips as she remembers.
When a crowd of them came for me in the dark of night, I was only surprised it had taken them so long.
She hesitates.
Only they didn't march me to no gallows. No. They snuck me to another house on the edge of town, real sneaky-like. That's where I met Galvino.
She raises her head, her black eyes shining. What was he doing there?
He was fiddling with some machinery in his workshop. Had his sleeves rolled up even though it was cold enough to see your breath. Never actually looked at me until he started fitting some copper helmet over my head. By that time, the mayor's goons had me trussed up good and tight. Galvino was having himself a grand time barking orders at that lot.
What did the mayor have to do with this?
He'd agreed to hand me over to Galvino for an experiment.
She waves her hands at the word, metal flashing.
Claimed it was a fair punishment, but the townfolk weren't too pleased at being denied their stone pitching.
She crosses her arms, nodding.
Didn't help that they heard the jangle of copper in that deal. In the end, that's what sent Galvino and the old mayor packing.
I see.
So while Galvino's fastening that helmet over my head and them copper bands around my arms, I'm starting to look at his contraption. And that's when I see it.
I'm sorry, I just hit my microphone. Her black eyes are fixed on some indefinable point. Her essence dims.
It's this metal suit strapped into the machine just like me. A cold, dead-eyed thing, all done up with fancy carvings and such.
She shivers, her joints chittering. Did you know what they intended?
I had this terrible cold feeling in my gut, but I still couldn't figure.
She shakes her head.
I start asking Galvino and the rest of them what's going on, but they're too busy to answer. Then suddenly, they're waiting, staring at me with that fixed, horrified look, but they ain't watching me. They're watching for something to happen.
Her eyes flicker, rolling and scraping behind her face.
Galvino tells the woman nearest the machine to flip the handle. And then, just pain. Being torn apart every which way, feeling my soul peeled from my body.
Her limbs twitch and shudder. She pauses, waiting for her body to fall still.
By the time I came to, I couldn't feel a thing. Just this dull, distant sort of ache.
I heard the old man cackling and chattering. I saw him looming over me, looking down at me with hungry eyes. I tried to scream, tried to swing at him.
Think that was when I knew.
She shakes her head and falls silent. Well, it's over now.
Don't much feel like it.
Yeah, that was probably the wrong thing to say.
The rest of Stalwart didn't take kindly to having a killer in their midst, nor to seeing their mayor and the Ornery Valians strike a secret deal. They drove Galvino out, destroyed a fortune in machinery, and wrote a letter to the Academy in Salona, ruining what was left of his name. Still, he's lucky he didn't get a pelting. The old mayor fled too, and Stalwart's been as snug and cheery as ever.
Now that we've dealt with Harmka, why have you stuck around?
You're better company than Galvino.
She says it in an offhand, teasing fashion, but she looks away from you, fidgeting with the rivet.
Been a while since I were out in the world. I guess I'm keen on seeing more of it, and it does me good to travel with someone steady and shrewd. Anyways, I've been wondering about that fortress.
She looks away again, flexing a wrist joint. Durgan's battery. What about it? She's quiet, fixated on her squeaking joint.
Near everyone thinks it'll have just the thing they need.
She takes a list off on her clicking fingers.
Those villagers wanted to fix up their brook downtown. Galvino always thought it carried some great secret of Animancer. and all them adventurers came looking for fancy gear.
What were you hoping to find?
I don't know. Something to help me feel. Or forget. Effigy's eyes, maybe just something new.
The tips of her metal fingers clacked together.
I just figured, with those dwarves being expert smiths and all, maybe they had something to unmake me. Put me back into my body.
Yeah, I'll be a little bit more sympathetic here. Perhaps we'll find something yet.
You really think so, huh? Well, ain't like you to blast hot air.
Huh, that's interesting. So I still got a rational response. And I didn't choose rational. I wanted to ask you about something. Oh, never mind. We're all done here. Okay, back to Durgan's battery. Want to try speaking to Galvino, since we did do that one quest for him? Probably didn't play out the way that he wanted it to. But we still got the guy to admit to what he did. Bring me all over here.
Oh, look at here.
That wasn't too bad.
If you say so. That'll do.
Oh, bunch of junk at least. But it's sellable junk. So I'll take it. I'm going to try and mitigate the exploration that we do. I'm going to make it to Galvino's workshop. So stay close to this cliff as we go. Alright, so far this party's doing pretty well. They're not super thrilled about having an all melee party. As much as I love melee, get a little fluttered up front. Insta's device makes a terrible screechy noise. Compass points west. Okay, we'll worry about that later. This crate is empty, but smells strongly of fish.
Mm-hmm.
There shouldn't be any traps left, right? I think the last one was right here. I had the devil take care of that on the way out.
Mm-hmm.
The devil has not scorched you yet, eh? Perfetto.
I have news about Grinda.
Yes? Does the sniveling cur hide in his home? Or has he been exiled to a place even more frigid and foul?
He claps his hands together in excitement. I learned that he murdered his sister.
Diverus! The man is even more of a wretch than I thought!
His face glows with macabre delight.
What of him now? Surely the villagers string him up with his own fishing line.
I didn't realize he's leaving the village. He's supposed to tell them what he did. And I assume face punishment. At least that's what I gathered from the conversation I had with him. He's leaving town with his tail tucked between his legs.
Perfetto! Oh, I only wish I could have seen it.
His broad smile exposes rows of yellowing teeth.
I will open a good wine tonight. As for you, take this.
A decent amount of experience.
Sure.
A lot I could speak to him about the awakening that I performed. And the learning about the Cantek.
Caroc, you remind me of an old lover of mine.
Is it my violent urges or my heart of brass?
It's your hands. Oh, Esma's were lovely, but always so cold. Killed the mood, if you know what I mean.
Oh, that's feeling like the way forward. Let's go back this way.
Slowly now.
What the heck, man? Oh. Oh. I was like, I haven't checked for hidden objects. I was going to do it along the cliffside. What are the chances? But this is also the map's location. For that one quest that we had. The Ninagallant's Black Pages. Save this for Aloth.
I'll see what's ahead.
Oh, my gamer's gut came through for me. Yeah, I forgot all about that map. Wasn't there a quest for it? Oh, I guess not. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is this the bounty? Yep. All right. Okay. Where is... Have to cast this, I think, as soon as we can. I'm gonna throw a summon or two here as well. Great, he's stunned. Well, that's unfortunate. I think it looks worse than it actually is. But also maybe not. We'll see. Oh, I didn't realize she was still alive. Alright, so my main character's kill. What I should have done was kept the devil back. And when the monks got back there, used her to keep them off of my back line.
Yeah.
So I left Durance unprotected, which led to him not being able to get his buffs out. Not that we really struggled either way, but... just something to make note of. Alright, we got Mesla's Head. Forgotten Tear of the Beloved. Unique flail, one-handed. Plus 30% of grazes converted to hits. 10% chance to cast Dazing on hit or critical hit. Grants prayer against treachery, 1 per rest. And suppress affliction, 2 per rest. Alright, this flail is awesome. Devotees of Andra tell stories of her romance with the moons, especially her unrequited love for Sen Bilafa. Yet it was Yoni Brother, the smaller of the 2 moons, that Andra pulled into the sea thousands of years ago. Small fragments of Yoni Brother are believed to exist in some of the more remote places of Eora, lost tokens of the goddess's passion. Such moon fragments, and the crater lakes that often form around them, are known as Andra's Tears. This flail is made of the piece of Yoni Brother that was discovered by some of the Hargrunan Dwarven explorers in the White March. Do I have anyone that uses flails? Because that is an awesome flail. Even to have as like a secondary piece of equipment. So none of these. Make sure I just didn't miss it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to call the episode here, and the next one we will continue exploring Durgan's battery. Made a little bit of progress. And we knocked out the Devil's Quest, so hey, we're doing good.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go and grab this while we're right here. I might go and take a rest next episode as well. And the trampled bloody slush around this toppled wagon. You spy tracks leading back south along the path. Alright, I'm going to call it here. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you guys in the next one.